Hi everybody, welcome to today's stick mobility class. I am Coach Ray, thank you for joining me. So for today's class, we are going to need 2 long sticks, 1 short stick, and we're also going to need a pad because we are going to do some drills in the kneeling position. I'm going to be using the squat rack as if it's a door frame and the size as if it's a wall. So if you have that available to you, you might want to make sure you're close by for those to transition into the further drills. So we are going to work on the feet and ankles today. We're also going to be working quite a bit on the spine, working on some rotation, but also working on spinal stabilization today. Okay, so we got quite a bit to go through. So I'm gonna take 1 long stick here, and I'm gonna step back into the squat rack. Now, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna start with warming up the feet, but typically the stick is typically on the floor, but instead I'm actually gonna drive the stick up into the squat rack here. So if you have a door frame, it's perfect for you to get under. Now what I'm going to do here is I want to keep the stick a little away from my body, about roughly 6 inches. I'm going to grab with my hands roughly about belly button height, and I want to drive the stick up about 15 to 20% just to get that activation in the erectors here. All right, I want to make sure we're staying tall. And all I'm going to do, I'm going to get in a horse stance, feet about roughly shoulder width apart, toes facing forward. We're going to go 1 foot at a time. I'm going to bring my right heel up as high as I can, keeping all 5 toes in contact with the floor the entire time. Then I'm going to bring that right heel down, bring my heel to the floor. Now I'm going to bring my left heel up, hold, okay? Really trying to warm up the feet and ankles here. Good. Bring that left heel down. Once it hits the floor, right heel comes up. Want to make sure we're keeping that pelvis stacked under the spine, so you shouldn't feel like you're hinged forward or leaning back, okay? Good. Now I'm going to drop that right heel down, bring that left heel up, right? Really driving that stick into the top of the door frame here still. Going to bring that left heel down, right heel comes up, okay? Good. Keep it slow and controlled. Right heel down and left heel up. Make sure you breathe. Good. Left heel down. Now we're going to go with lateral tilting. We're still driving the stick up 15 to 20% tension. Let's actually switch our hands, okay? Now I'm going to bring my right heel up and I'm going to laterally shift. So I'm going to shift my heel to 9 o'clock. So I'm going to be on the big toe of my right foot. Then I'm going to shift my heel to 3 o'clock. Going to be on the pinky toe of my right foot. So shift the heel to the left, 9, good. Shift the heel to the right, 3, excellent. Shift that heel in, and that movement should be coming from the heel. We're trying to keep the knee and hip stable as possible. Shift out, okay. Shift in, good. Just warm those lateral tissues. Shift out, back to center, and down. Good. Now switch to the other leg. Bring the left heel up, shift the heel in, okay, 3 o'clock. Then shift that heel out, 9 o'clock. Good. Shift in. Remember, try to keep that knee as still as possible, right? If you need to, you can always look down at the knee, shift out to make sure your knee's not moving too much. Shift in. Good. Out. One more time. In. And out. Back to center. And down. Excellent. Take a break for a second. Now we're going to get into pelvic tilt. But again, we're going to be using the top of the rack here, right? So I want to make sure I'm driving the stick up, and I want to keep that spine as tall as possible. We're just going with trying to generate tension in different directions, okay? So I'm going to take a horse stance, okay? Shoulder width or maybe slightly wider. Stick still in line with my midline here. Switch my hands again. Belly button is, hands are at the belly button here, okay? Now, I want to get in that horse stance to make sure that my pelvis is stacked under my spine. I'm going to drive the stick up. Good, about 15 to 20% tension. And now I'm gonna tuck my pelvis in or do a posterior tilt, and I wanna squeeze my glutes, okay? Make sure those glutes are tight. It just looks like a bucket of water, right? We're trying to tuck our front of our pelvis up. Now we're gonna do an anterior tilt, tuck our pelvis the opposite way. You're gonna feel those lower back erectors and tissues tighten, right? That's what we're going for. Make sure we're not moving or shifting. Tuck the pelvis in, squeeze those glutes. Good. Do an anterior tilt. Good, hold. Posterior tilt, squeeze those glutes, drive those knees out. Anterior. Make sure you're breathing, okay? Posterior. Good, so drive up. And anterior. Good, back to center. Now we're gonna go lateral. So I'm gonna bump my hips up to the right. Okay, you should feel that right glute fire. Still keeping a slight posterior tilt. Now I'm gonna bump my hips up to the left for that left glute fire. Still driving the stick up. Bump the hips to the right. Good. Bump the hips to the left. Good. Bump the hips to the right. Good. Left. Good. One more time each way. Bump to the right. And bump to the left. Good. Back to center and relax. Going to come out of it. Perfect. Okay. So now we're going to move to a kneeling position. Okay. So I'm going to take the pad, or if you have a pillow, right? Whatever you have available to you. What we're going to do here is I'm going to kneel. I'm going to start with my left knee on the ground here. Okay. And I'm going to take the stick and place it behind my mid back, and I want it in the crooks of my elbow. So I want to make sure that my hands are, I'm able to get my hands forward here, right? So my back foot is plantar flexor extended, so the top of my foot is in the ground, okay? So what I really want to do is I want to kind of lock this side up a little bit, or mostly stabilize it. So I'm going to lightly drive that back foot into the floor, 15% tension, and squeeze the left glute. And I want to keep that tension the entire time as I work through these rotations here, okay? So I want to make sure I'm staying up tall, okay? Ribs are not flared, ribs are down, okay? Now I'm going to keep my hands placed around my rib cage here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to rotate to the right, and I'm going to drive forward with that left elbow. Breathe. Good, and head follow. So as I'm coming back to center, I'm going to look to the left. Head comes back to center, my spine follows. As I go to the left now, driving that right elbow forward, my head follows, and I look to the left, okay? Good. Eyes first, turn head, and then back to center, rotate to the right, drive that left elbow forward, head follows. Try to keep this front knee in line with the toes here, mid-toe. Good. Eyes first, head turns, spine comes back to center, rotate to the left, drive that right arm forward. Make sure you're breathing. Good. Eyes first, head goes, and then spine comes to neutral. Good. Let's go on and ease off. We're going to switch sides here. So with this, we're able to warm up the T-spine, neck, and hips all at the same time here. Okay. So we're in that same position. Top of that back foot is flat, so my right knee is down, left leg is forward. And also on that left leg, you don't want to be in too close to where your knee is going over your ankle. You want your knee stacked directly over your ankle here, okay? So, hands are on the rib cage is down, right, not flared. So I'm gonna drive that back foot into the floor, squeeze that right glute, 15% tension, just to kind of, again, stabilize those areas. Now I'm gonna start to rotate to the left. My head still follows, driving forward with that right elbow. Breathe. Now I'm gonna rotate, so I'm gonna bring my eyes back, head back, and then spine follows. Now I'm gonna rotate to the right, driving that left elbow forward. Good. Deep breaths, eyes follow, head, then spine. Good. Rotate to the left, drive that right elbow forward. Make sure you're breathing. Eyes follow, head, then spine. Rotate to the right again. Good. Breathe. Eyes follow, head, then spine. Good. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna take, so I'm gonna be in a, still gonna be in a full kneeling position, okay? And what I wanna do here is I'll actually turn to the side so you can see. So I'm gonna use the long stick for this, right? If you have a long stick, you wanna grab it. And what I wanna do is I wanna sit my hips back a bit, okay? If you have issues with your, or pain with the knees, just make sure you're kneeling on a pad here, okay? So I'm gonna sit back, okay? And then I'm gonna hinge a bit. And what I'm gonna do from here, I'm gonna work on rotating. So with the stick across my mid back, I'm gonna rotate right into the stick out in front, and I'm gonna pull apart. Looking back behind me. Good, I'm gonna ease off. Gonna come back to neutral. Now I'm gonna rotate the left end of the stick down in front, pull apart, get that upper back tightness, get that active rotation, trying to trap and lock in that lumbar spine here. Ease off, back to neutral, okay? Rotate the right end of the stick towards the floor, place it down, pull the stick apart. Breathe. Good. Ease off that tension. Rotate back to neutral. Good. Rotate that left end of the stick down. Pull the stick apart. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Come back to neutral. And then come back up to that full kneeling position. So now, we're gonna go to a standing position here. So, I'm still gonna be using a long stick here, okay? And I'm gonna place the stick across my upper back, okay? So, I realistically want the stick across my shoulder blades, so if I turned around, sticks across the shoulder blades here, okay? I don't want it above because oftentimes we can get a little bit funky, so I kind of want to keep it right across my shoulder blades here, okay? Now what I'm going to do here, I want to get back into a horse stance. I want to have both feet facing forward, okay? Stick is across my back. We're not gripping the stick with the rope grip, just kind of having your hands out and open, okay? And now what I want to do from here, I'm just going to simply start to make circles, but I want to make sure I'm looking at either end of the stick as I do the circles. So first I want to start by just moving the shoulders. Okay, we're going to start to segment the spine in, but we're just moving the shoulder blades, very similar to kayaking, right? Good. Make sure you breathe. If those circles are too big and it's kind of getting a little wonky, right? Just reduce the range of motion by making the circle smaller. Now we're gonna go backwards. So we're gonna go with a backwards motion. See which one's harder for you. Feel those shoulder blades moving. Okay, still keeping the spine from moving as much as we possibly can, right? And you want to make sure that the lower body is not getting involved as we do this here. Good. Now we're going to start to segment the spine in. So I'm going to go back to forward circles, but I'm going to try to actually move my spine, my thoracic spine, as much as I can here. So again, start small. So from here, staying neutral, and I want to start to make circles with the 6, but that movement is coming from the spine, right? Breathe. If you feel like your lower body's moving too much, squeeze your glutes, okay? Start to gradually make those circles bigger. So now we're getting into some of that lateral flexion, some rotation, and a little bit of extension and flexion. Those reverse directions. Go backwards. Breathe. Breathe. Good. Keep going. Feel that spine loosening up a bit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Going to come out. Let's take a second here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab the short stick. So we're going to get into a little bit of core stabilization drills here. Okay. We're really trying to make sure we keep that spine as neutral as possible and try to work on strengthening that. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with the bird dog drill. We're going to do that. Okay. And so we're going to go through and individually work on each different cue here, okay? So, I'm gonna start from a quadruped position. If your knees get uncomfortable, you can grab a pad, right? So, I wanna keep my knees under my hips, and I wanna keep my hand under my shoulder. So I don't want this position here. I want this right hand under my shoulders here, okay? And so I'm going to have this left hand out, okay? So maybe start by grabbing a little lower if need be, but if you can, go with it at the same height as your spine or shoulder height here, okay? And so what I'm going to do, keeping the right arm straight, and I'm going to make sure my big toes are into the floor. Staying in neutral position, I'm first going to start by driving the stick down into the floor at 40% tension. Hold. Make sure you breathe here, okay? 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. Now we're going to actively lift the opposite leg here. So the stick's in my left hand. I'm going to extend my right foot back, and I really want to drive with the heel. Make sure we're going straight back, not driving a leg up. So from here, get in position. Let's go 60%. Drive the stick down. Good. Lift that right leg off the floor. Drive that right heel back. Keeping the core engaged. Hold. Breathe. And 3, 2, 1. Bring that right knee back in. And place it down and ease off. Good. Let's go a couple more reps here. Okay. So, arms straight. Okay. First, drive the stick in the ground, 60%. Push. Good. Lift that right knee up. Extend that right heel back. Dorsiflex that ankle. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Bring that right knee back in and place it down and ease off. Good. This time we're gonna lift that stick off the floor, or hover it, as that right leg is extended, okay? So, again, spine neutral. Drive the stick down, 60%, push. Good, lift that right knee up. Extend that right heel back. Good, lift the stick off the floor, hover. Hold. And 3, 2, 1. Place the stick down. Bring that right knee back in and set it down and ease off. Good. Now we're going to switch sides. So if you're prepping to do anything that requires a lot of core stabilization, right? This is a really, really awesome drill to warm up with, because we can use this as a progression to the actual drill itself, right? Or we can progress it and make it harder. So, same thing. Hand is under the shoulder, okay? So, six press out overhead in my right hand. First thing, I'm gonna activate, all right? From this position, make sure my spine is neutral and drive that stick into the ground 40%. She'll feel those core tissues turn on. Hold. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. Okay. Now we're going to do what we did on the other side, right? Okay, spine neutral, arms straight. So activate, drive the stick in the ground, 60%. Lift the left knee off. Extend that left heel back. Should feel those lower ab muscles working. And 3, 2, 1. Bring that left knee back in, place it down, and ease off. Good. Okay, let's get 2 more reps here. Arms straight, okay. Drive the sticks down, 60%, push. Good, lift that left knee up. Drive that left heel back. Try to keep those hips square to the floor. 3, 2, 1. Bring that left knee back forward. Place it down and ease off. Good. Let's get 1 more repetition here. Okay. Arms straight. Drive the stick in the ground, 60%. Lift the left knee up. Drive that left heel back. Lift the stick off the floor, hover. 3, 2, 1, back down. Good. Bring that left knee back in, place it down, and ease off. Good. Okay. So it's a good way to work on, again, stabilizing that core, right? So now we're going to do here, we're going to do some standing core drill. However, we are going to be in a split stance for this. Okay, so we'll need the 2 long sticks. And what I want to do here, I'm going to start my left foot forward, right foot is back. Okay, so I'll actually turn from the side here, because something I really want you to pay attention to is how my spinal alignment is, right? So I don't want to be extending, want my low back to be hyperextended. I want to keep that in check, so I'm going to tuck that pelvis in, squeeze this right glute to make sure that I'm locked in here, right? So knee is stacked over front leg, knee is stacked over the ankle here. So my left leg forward, right foot is back. I'm on the ball and big toe of my foot. I'm going to simply start from having the sticks at an 11 and 1 o'clock position, okay? Arms at shoulder height. Squeeze that right glute. Make sure that left knee is stacked over the ankle and the bottoms of the sticks are angled in towards my toes. And I want to drive those sticks down 50%. Hold. And 3, 2, 1, ease off. Good. I'm going to pick the sticks up and I'm going to hover them and rotate towards my right leg or rotate to the right. So now the left stick's at 12, right stick's at 2. My spine or my shoulders are rotated along with the sticks here, okay? So same thing, squeeze the glute, make sure those hips are locked forward, and drive the sticks down. Shoulders are rotated, hips are still facing forward. 50%. Hold. And 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. Let's further rotate. So I'm going to bring that left stick to 1, right stick to 3. Okay, shoulders are rotated, but again, pelvis is still forward as much as possible. So from here, same thing. Squeeze that right glute. Drive both sticks down. Should be feeling that right oblique activate. Make sure you breathe. 50% tension. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Good. Now we're going to come up and go to the other side. So right stick's at 12. Left stick's at 10 o'clock. Shoulders are rotated along with the sticks. Okay. Same thing. Arms straight. 50%. Drive sticks down. Push. Good. Breathe. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. So now we're going to rotate further. Left stick's at 9. Right stick's at 11. Okay. All right. So keep that right glute tight. Drive six down. 50%. Push. You should be feeling that left oblique system activating here. Make sure you breathe. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Ease off. And back to neutral. Now we're going to switch sides, okay? So now I'm going to have my right foot forward, left foot back, still in that same distance, same stance, okay? We're going to have my right knee loaded over my right ankle, okay? Same mechanics. We'll go for the back leg here. Want to make sure that glute's tight, lock those hips, right? So we're going to start off 6 directly out in front, 11 and 1. Okay, stay up tall, squeeze the glute, and drive the sticks down. Hold. Good. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. We're going to start by rotating to the left. So right stick comes to 12, left stick goes to 10 o'clock. Okay. Shoulders are rotated along with the sticks. And squeeze that left glute, drive six down, push. Hold. And 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. Left stick comes to 9. Right stick goes to 11. Okay. Last one here. Right. Same thing. Keep that left glute tight and drive both sticks down. Think about driving that left hip forward, straight in front. Hold. And 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Good. Pick the sticks up. Gonna bring them across the other side. So left stick's at 12. Right stick's at 2. Okay. So try to make sure you're also focused on keeping that front knee in line with the mid toe as much as you can, okay? Don't want to find out you're doing this or doing this. Okay, same thing. Hips are facing forward. So arms straight and drive the six down. 50%. 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Good. Now we're going to go further. Right, left six at 1, right six at 3 o'clock. Same thing. Shoulders are rotated along with the sticks. Hips are still facing forward. Squeeze out left glute and drive. breathe. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ease off. The sticks up. Come back forward and come out. Good. Okay, perfect. So now what I want to do here, I want to work on pulling the stick back away from my head. So if you have a door frame here, it's going to be perfect for you to use. So you are going to need a long stick for this to make sure that the stick gets across the inside or towards the back of your body. So I'm going to bring the stick behind my head. Okay, place it on the top of my shoulders here. I'm going to walk forward until the stick meets the door frame. Okay? Now my hands are going to be as wide as you need them to be. Just don't want there to be any pain here, okay? So from here, I'm going to take a horse stance. So feet about shoulder width apart, facing forward. I'm going to drop my hips down and squeeze my glutes to make sure my pelvis is stacked under my spine. What I'm going to do from here, I'm going to pull the stick apart. Good. And then I'm going to pull the stick back away from my neck. Hold. Should feel some upper back tension. Should be at 40%. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back forward. And relax. Ease off. Good. Okay. We're going to do that same thing again. Let's up the intensity to 60% here, okay? So, full grip on the stick. Okay, again, to that horse stance. Squeeze those glutes. Stay up tall. Okay, pull the stick apart 60%. Good. Pull the stick back away from the wall. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back forward. And ease off. Good. Let's go one more time. Let's go 80% intensity here. Okay. All right. Full grip on a stick. Bend those knees. Squeeze the glutes. Okay. Stay up tall. 80%. Pull the stick apart. Make sure those elbows are stacked under the stick. Pull the stick back. Away from the wall. Hold. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back forward. And ease off. Excellent. Good. Whew. So we got quite a bit of spine stabilization there. Worked on some split stance core drills and worked a little bit on the shoulders and upper back there, right? So now we're going to get into the deep fascial stretching part. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the short stick. I'm going to use a short stick for this one here. So this is where you're going to need a wall, okay? So I'm going to use this pad to get to a half kneeling position. And so we're going to work on stretching out the interior of the hip up to the chest. So we're going to work on an anterior sling system here, right? So my left foot is going to be forward, right knee is down, okay? Back foot is going to be flat into the floor here, okay? So the stick is going to be roughly about nose height, okay? Nose to chin height, wherever it's comfortable, okay? I'll move just this a bit. So I want to have my arm at roughly 90 degrees here, okay? Back foot is flat. So what I'm going to first do, go through a series of activation. I'm going to drive this back foot into the floor, 30%, squeeze this right glute, and I want to make sure I got a full grip on the stick so my palm is going to be facing towards my face. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift forward. Good. And I want to make sure I breathe here. Okay, so driving that back foot down, squeezing that right glute, opening up the anterior part of the hip, but now we're getting to the chest open here, right? We want to keep that elbow back. 3, 2, 1. We're going to slowly come out of it. And good. So we're going to do that a couple more times. On the last one, we're going to drop. So the stick's going to be in an overhead position. So it's going to be a little bit more challenging, right? So you can always adjust your hands to get it further back, right? Just so you can get more of a stretch in the pec. So, drive that back foot down 30%, squeeze that right glute, keep that elbow straight, and then shift your weight forward again. Your entire spinal position shouldn't change, right? Your entire body is going forward, not extending your back, but your entire body is moving forward here as we get into this. Hold. And 3, 2, 1. Slowly ease off. Excellent. Okay, we're going to go one more time. But again, now we're going to bring the stick up, our hand up, to an overhead position. Okay, like so. So the stick, or my arm, is at a Y angle. Okay? So from here, same thing. I want to drive that back foot down, squeeze that right glute, and then I'm going to shift my weight forward. Get a bigger stretch in that pec area here. Really open that up. Keep that rib cage down. Make sure you're controlling that. Good. 3, 2, 1. Slowly come out. And ease off. Now we're going to switch sides. Okay. So move the pad over to this side here. So now left knee is down, right leg is forward. Sit up in that same position. Stick is roughly about, again, nose to chin height here. Okay, back foot is flat. Right arm straight out to the side, palm facing inwards. Drive that back foot down, squeeze the left glute, and then shift those hips forward. Make sure you're controlling that rib cage. If you got really tight hips, you're also really trying to open up that interior system, this is a really good way to get into that. Slowly ease off. And good. And always remember, the stretch should not hurt. If it's hurting, if you've gone too far into the stretch, okay? All right, second one, adjust your hand if needed, okay? Drive that back foot down, squeeze that left glute, and drive your entire body forward. Keep in control of that rib cage to hips, okay? Hold. Good. 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Excellent. Good. Now I'm going to move the stick up higher. Okay. Get to that arm out position here. Same thing. Try the back foot down, squeeze the left glute, and shift the hips forward. Good. Hold. And 3, 2, 1. Slowly come out. And ease off. Good. Okay. So, one way we can open up that entire sling system. So now, I'm going to place the short stick down. I'm going to grab the long stick again. We're going to go back into a half kneeling position, but this time we're going to start to kind of get a little bit more into that QL region, and we're going to focus on stretching out the lateral line, but also getting that low back, okay? So, I'm going to place my right knee down, and I'm going to have the stick angled out, okay? So, I want to have the stick roughly about 1 inch or 2 in front of the line of my hips, okay, of my back hip. And I'm not going to be driving my hips forward, but instead I'm going to really be driving my hips down and towards the bottom of the stick here, okay? So I'm going to grip up high on the stick, okay? And what I'm actually going to do here is I want to make sure that my back foot stays neutral, at least for now. We are going to change foot position a little bit as we go into it, or hip position in particular. So both hips are facing forward, right hand up top, left hand is going to be on the stick for support. Now what I'm going to do from here, I'm going to drop this hip down towards the bottom of the stick there, and I'm going to reach up with my right as I drop that hip down towards the stick. You can have this knee shifting over if need be. But I really want to reach up with my right hand, dropping that right hip towards the bottom of the stick. Good, I'm going to slowly come out and relax. So if that's too intense of a stretch, reduce that range of motion, right? Or you can just simply reach up higher to get a big stretch. So now I'm going to angle my right knee hip to externally rotate. So instead of being here, I'm going to bring this foot out a bit more, okay? This might change the stretch a little bit, and that's okay, but again, just be careful. So right hand is up, left hand is on the stick. I'm going to drop that right hip towards the bottom of the stick here, reaching up with that right hand. Hold. Deep breaths. Breathe. Good. Slowly come out and relax. Now we're going to switch sides here. So if your back is tight, you got some tension in the QL, this is a way to kind of open that up and also open up that lateral chain. So stick is in the same position here. Left hand is up top. Both hips and knees are facing forward and neutral. Okay. Left hand is up, right hand's on the stick. Again, now we're going to start to drive that hip down towards the bottom of the stick and really reaching with that left hand. Allow that left hip to drop towards the floor. Reach, 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 reach. In 3, 2, 1, slowly come out. Excellent, good. We're gonna do that same thing. Now we're gonna externally rotate this back hip here. Gonna do that same thing here, okay? So, arm is up, right hand's on the stick, and I wanna drop that hip towards the bottom of the stick, really sinking into it, reaching with that top hand. And 3, 2, 1, ease off. Excellent, good, okay. It's a way to stretch out some of those lateral tissues, okay? Now what we're gonna do here, we're gonna finish off with a little bit of ninja flow, okay? So, I'm gonna take a wide stance. The stance is gonna be whatever's most comfortable for you, okay? So, you can always adjust your stance as needed with this, right? You can start off a little closer, and then as you loosen up, start to widen that stance. So let's actually start off a little bit closer here, okay? I'm gonna place a stick on the inside of my instep of my right foot here, or right by the ball of my foot, okay? I'm gonna take my right hand, place it up roughly about forehead height, okay? Now what I'm gonna do from here, I'm going to bring the stick back and I'm going to hinge back, reaching my left arm or left hand towards the floor. Good. Reach across on my left hand, thumb facing down towards the floor. I'm going to pull the stick apart and lunge to my left, driving my hips back. Hold. Good. Going to come out. Let go with that left hand and come back up slowly. Excellent. Let's widen out that stance a little bit more. Okay, so as we widen out the stance, it's going to require more rotation, more range of motion. So I'm going to adjust the stick accordingly. Okay, get it right by the inside of my foot. Okay, right hand is up. Stick comes back. I start to hinge. Reach down with that left hand. Reach across, grab the bottom of the stick, thumb facing down, pull the stick apart, and lunge to my left. Gonna feel that right adductor stretch here. Now we're getting further T-spine rotation. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Back to neutral. Let go with the left hand and come back up. Excellent. Now I'll switch sides. So wiggle your feet in a little bit, back to where they were. Okay. Now I'm going to bring the Bottom of the stick on the inside of my left foot here. Okay, hand is at about shoulder, same height, forehead height here. Okay, so from here, same thing, stick comes back. Then I start to hinge. Reaching that right hand down towards the floor. If you can't touch the floor, or place your fist on it. Okay. Reach across with that right hand, thumb facing down towards the floor. Now I'm gonna lunge to my right. Pulling the stick apart. Take advantage of that stretch in that left adductor and hamstring, right? Good. Slowly come back out, back to center. Let go with that right hand. Good. Stand up slowly. Excellent. Let's move it out a little bit wider, okay? Adjust the stick accordingly, okay? Hand is still up high. Same thing. Gonna bring the stick back behind. Gonna hinge. Stick is coming across the chest here. Good. Reach across with that right hand, thumb facing down towards the floor. Pull the stick apart. Lunge to your right. Breathe. Good. 3, 2, 1. Come back to center. Let go with the left or with the right hand. Stand back up slowly. Good. And now wiggle your feet in. And that concludes today's class. Thank you for joining me for today's class. Kind of want to focus a little bit more on recovery, but be sure to check out our other YouTube videos. Catch you guys all later. Hope you have a good day.